I'll wait for a minute here. I'm going to share on a little story I got to tell. This is where we're at as far as the wing goes. I know I'm early, but heck, you guys get notifications, so you should be able to deal with it. As soon as we get a few more watchers in here, I'm going to pass along a story that happened. Oh, we must have more watchers than, there we go, we got 2. 3 thumbs up and 3 watchers. We like that. We like that a lot. Okay. You guys know that I was working out this tank box area here, and I was having a heck of a time with fractions. Well, I got to tell you, I have been taught fractions wrong all my life. So the show ends, and I get a call from a guy I talk about all the time, Jim Lynch. And he's on me like he's an old friend. He said, "Man, you're doing it wrong." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Fractions." I said, "Okay, what about it?" I said, he said, "It's real simple." And the way he explained it, I go, well, the light bulb went off, and I'm thinking, why didn't I think of that before? How do you find half of any fraction? Say you got 13/16. What is half of 13/16? I'm going to show you here the simple way. Man, I wish I'd have thought of it. But that's poor instruction in school, because I just was never taught that. But boy, it sure made a lot of sense. Let me see if I can find a pencil here. Here we go. And this will help you with your model building. At least it'll help me. Let's get a piece of paper here. I got a pen, but no pencil. Okay, we got 13/16. Half of 13/16. You just double the denominator times 2. So half of 13/16 is 13/32. And if you don't think that's right, I went the other way. So half of 1/8 is 2 times 8 is 16, 1/16. And that is the simplest. I was never taught that in school. That is the simplest thing I have ever seen. So it's nice to have friends that'll call you up and tell you where you're going wrong. 3/32. 3/32. Half of 3/32 is 3/64. It's so stupid. It's ridiculous. I don't know why the curriculum in school, especially in the younger grades, was not made easier like that. They make you do all kind of gyrations to get the easy answer. So anyway, that's Jim Lynch's contribution to me. Thank you, Jim. I even pass it along to the guys at work today, the guys who are working the break and figuring math all the time. I said, man, I never knew that either. So, see, you learn something new every day on Stunt Hanger. Well, let's do my favorite thing. Let's see about changing the camera angle. My favorite thing in wing building is the cap strips. So we go here. Set that right there. Now, cap strips are a little finicky. They take some time. You want to do a good job on them. Now, I cut my cap strips at 3/16 and not a 1/4 inch. And the reason being is every wing panel, you leave a piece off. Actually, every 4th one, you leave a piece off. So they're 3/16 and the biggest thing I can teach you about cap strips is do not force them. Make them cut, fit, sand, whatever, until they're perfect. If you force them, you can warp the wing. And we have a dead nut straight wing here now, so we don't want to play any games. After getting these cap strips in, we'll sand it with a long bar. See, I missed on that one. So don't just put it in, make a new one. Cut it too short. It only takes, cap strips are tough to get perfect. I guess I'm gonna have to cut it long and sand it to shape. Still too damn short. What the heck's going on? If you look here, I mean, you can't see it. The gap is about 3/1000. That ain't no good. It might work in another spot though. Yeah, we can use them down this way. Oh boy, giving me a fit. So let's do this. We'll get it. And we'll cut it large, sand the shape. I've cut this approximately a 64th long. Let's see if, maybe it's my eyes are screwing up. Maybe I need to wipe my glasses. Nope, there we go. Okay. Biggest thing I look for when I'm doing appearance is, are the cap strips level? So make sure that when you do the fitment, you got a nice joint. I just ruined that one. Didn't take much. Yeah, that'll work. Not absolutely perfect, so we'll move it down one. I don't know why I can't get that first one. Probably because I haven't done cap strips in quite a while. Hey, Craig. Yes, I did. I detail glued the wing in before I put in my spar spacers. Before I cap this off, I detail glued the whole thing. Thanks for reminding me, though. that could cause the wing to fly apart. Especially building the way I do. Every piece helps every other piece. But there's not much of it. There we go. We got a perfect one now. Okay, 1 drop of CA on the thing. Leave it a little proud. You can feel it up probably, I don't know, 1/1000th of an inch or so. If you run your finger over it, you can feel that it's up, but that's okay because we're gonna sand it with a long bar. Let me get some of these more sticks that I cut already. I cut a bunch of sticks. I don't know what I did with them, but I got so much crap there. It'd be good when I get some of this shit cleaned off. What did I do with all them sticks? I cut cap strips. Here we go. Let's try to get this one again. And like I say, if you don't get it, don't leave it. I'm going a little bit farther along with this model because this model will sit on the front row. And if it doesn't, there is something wrong. And no, I'm not going to put death paint on it. We are shooting for 0 mistakes. Of course, even though I'm shooting for 0, there's going to be mistakes. Nobody can build a perfect airplane. Okay, that's a good one. Let's see if we can get it sanded to shape here. Yeah, took 2 swipes of the sandpaper to make it right. It's pretty important that you leave it proud because you don't want to be sanding the sheeting down. You want to sand the cap script down. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Now, let's see. We need to turn this air conditioner on. It's hotter than heck in here. Okay. Now this weekend there won't. I don't think there's going to be. I mean, I still might build even though it's contest week, but I'm going to try to live stream from the field. So by the looks of all the videos and the time that I have in this, I guess these wings take about 20 hours, maybe a little more, maybe 25 hours. So when Bob Hunt asked for $300 for a wing, I'm sure he can do it faster, but 300 or 400 or whatever it's probably a deal. And I've seen some Hunt wings. They're works of art. Okay, where are we at? A couple of swipes. Yes, yes, we are. Remember, I only have 7 flights for the year. Probably about 10. Doesn't matter. I kind of wrote this season off. But even though I have very few flights, I'll probably do a halfway respectable job. Uh-oh. We may have to change that one out. It's no, it'll be all right. Got a couple little marks in it, but by the looks of it, it'll stand out. Trying to find the nomenclature for this airplane. Any of you guys know where I can get that? That includes manifold, torque specs, tire pressure, ammo capacity, service panels. I don't know where all this glue's going. I still need to make a sheet for the bottom and the compression spars. We're on 15.9. Okay, guys, for you guys that didn't catch the fractional explanation, because I think it's kind of important. When I was fiddling around with that center section, I couldn't come up with a half of a fraction. Jim Lynch called me afterwards, said, how do you know, told me how to do it. And you just take the denominator and double it. So half of one half is 2 times 2 is 4, 1/4. Half of 1/8, 2 times 8 is 16, 1/16. And so on and so forth. It was the simplest explanation I ever heard. And that's going to stick with me for what I have left of life. I wish they'd have taught me that in school. All those panels and doodads sound heavy. It's all ink. It can't be that heavy. Ink and spray paint. The wheel wells look absolutely scale when I show you how to do that. I think if you search my channel for the last Thunderbolt I built, I did show how to do them scale like wheel wells. Now I can't take credit. I can take credit for doing it on that airplane, but I can't take credit for coming up with it. That's Al Rabe. I sent Al Rabe 5 hot rock handles that I had. And he said, oh, this is no good. He said, what do you want for them? I said, nothing. He said, oh, I got to give you something. Okay, Al, whatever. So he sent me one of his tapes. And let me tell you something. If you can sit through an Al Rabe tape, you can sit through a Windy tape like it's nothing. Because it's super boring. However, while flipping through that thing, I ran across his wheel well detailing sequence. And man, does it look good. So if you're willing to learn, you can learn a little something from everywhere. Just like that Jim Lynch thing I just passed on to you, because I had no clue. How many of you guys knew that? I'm sure the Brett Bucks would know that, but I'm not sure the mechanics would know that. Brett Buck is so smart. You can say, what's the volume of this? He said, well, pi times radius square times I around the corner biffle plate waffle pump, and there you have it. It's 4 ounces. He's a smart guy, but that's what he does for a living is math. So in order to get to Mars, you got to know math. I tell you what, if I had it to do all over again, I would, in high school, I would take typing, which I thought was a sissy thing to take. I would take home economics. So you guys listening that are maybe would be in high school, don't let your buddies bully you. Say, typing, that's for girls. Yeah, well, if I'd have known what I know now, I can type. And I type pretty decent, but I'm self-taught. Just like computers, I'm self-taught. Because necessity came about. Okay, I will. I got that issue. It's out in the car. But what I want is pretty specific. I want those friskets, Dan. They're a one-time use only. Tanks Hangersley charged $140 a sheet for them, and you only get to use them once. Okay, let's see if we put any power in the wing before I glue them. Nope. When you put the cap strips on, look into the wing. Turn it up like this. Look into the trailing edge, an imaginary line to the leading edge, and make sure that it didn't take a twist. And we got a straight one. Oh yeah. Let's see here. We want to turn this around this way. We're almost ready to fly this. Another 100 hours, maybe. I bet it'll be more than that. I bet it'll be more than 100 hours. Okay. Dan, you better not be sitting in that chair. You better be out in the garage sanding. You only got 2 more days to get that airplane ready. There's another one of my buddies on there. That man is a super carpenter. Matter of fact, Jim Lynch asked me last night, is Dan some kind of cabinet maker? Yeah, he makes some cabinets, but he likes your trailer. I like your trailer too, but I couldn't afford to tow it. 4 miles to the gallon. if you want to see some joinery, go on Google or go on YouTube and look for Japanese joinery. Them guys are super. You know, everything's hand fit, precision. They cut all the dovetails by hand, intricate dovetails too. Sand and fit, and they fit perfect. I would like to do an apprenticeship with those guys. Now the Cooper, I think I could make a barrel. You know, it didn't take a whole lot. I just watched them a couple of times. I think I could make a barrel, no problem. Want you to know the secret? Now remember, afternoon, Marcel. Remember, as my buddy Jim Lynch said, the bottom's got to be as good as the top. So don't skimp any on the bottom. I used to skimp on the paint on the bottom just to try to get them light. But we're not doing that. We're just putting less paint on everything. And this airplane will be no exception. But I'll tell you, I'm going to fix every bugger on this thing. I tell you what, I got a big rude awakening. I got my 332nd wire today. Had it shipped in from Amazon. Now I could have went to Radical RC and bought it local, but I'm not off during the day and they're not open on the weekend. 2 pieces of 332nd K&S music wire, $9. That's ridiculous. And I think it's going to get worse. We're going to bend up a couple of receivers for the push rod. And the way I'm going to do these push rods, everything will be 0 and everything will be piano wire. It'll be carbon fiber and piano wire. But the reason behind this is how we used to do it in the 60s, is a bushed horn and not a Balllink. And the reason why the guys started using Balllinks, because nobody knew how to get the push rods in there square so that they were free. Well, I know how to do that, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You see how free that is? A Balllink ain't going to do that. A Balllink has 1/4 inch of surface area. This has 3/32, so this is naturally going to be smoother. And then when if I ever find my dry slide, which I know I have 2 bottles somewhere, I might check my trailer at work. I'm going to polish this wire before I Pattern Master lumber wagon. Unfortunately, Big Jim Greenaway's designs had a lot of lumber in them. Big old thick airfoil. Come on now, don't fall off. I'm starting to get excited about this airplane now because it's starting to come together. If you're not a member of the channel, if you want to see this condensed, I suggest you become a member because it's going to be available when the build is done. I'm going to take all these videos that I've done, I'm going to put them together and do a 2-hour voiceover. You can see that includes the finishing too. Okay, where are you at? Where are you at here? I don't know. I'm still thinking about being the ED at the Nats. I talked to a couple people and they said, well, if you're going to enforce the rules, you might as well not do be an ED. What has this world come to? See, that one there is a little tight. Not much, just a little. And if you leave it tight, it'll force the wing in the opposite direction. Feels pretty good. Okay, we got 3 more to go, and we got 1/2 of the wing done. I'll show you how I do this center section too tonight. No, maybe not. I, I run out of time, you know. I want to bore you guys to death with my gibberish and. Heard a great commercial the other day. Coca-Cola. Funny as hell. Two more and we're half done. Finding gold, huh? Yeah. I'll never be that lucky. Of course, I think I find my gold every time I work on an airplane. I did win $25 today at the gas station, so that's gold. And see that right there? That's, oh, you can't see it. Watch the trailing edge. See it bounce up and down? That's because I snapped that in there too hard. And it don't take much. I don't like that. Tell you what, we better get our act together, that's for sure. The storm is upon us. Well, if you really want to know the truth, there's gold on the sidewalk. Just not much of it. When I was a kid, we used to go up to the high Sierras and we panned for gold. And there we go. And that gold, that's when gold was stuck at $29 an ounce. And it'd take a month to make $29. It wasn't worth it. I'm not sure it'd be worth it today, even what gold prices are, unless you really had, sluice box and Had some type of earth moving equipment, like them guys on Gold Rush or whatever they call that mining thing in Alaska. But they got big money invested. You know, they've got dredges and all that crap. It's a regular construction job. Now, why did that come out? 64 too big. What's half a 3/64th, guys? Real quick. 3/32, I mean. 3/64. Except most guys don't have a ruler that goes down that small. I do, though. Buy these rulers on Amazon. 64ths on this side, 32nds on this side, 16ths and 8ths. I think it's about $6 for 2 rulers on Amazon. I think we might have a problem. Let's see here. Need to see what's going on here. No, it's okay. So as I stated, you want to look into the wing. Make sure it's not going cattywampus. Looks pretty good. I need to mark these hinge spots before I lose them, though. One there. One there. And one there. What did you do with my profile plane? Which profile are you speaking of? I got a 576 Ringmaster for sale with OS Max 46 or whatever the hell it is. It's a set the wings together. It would take like 3 hours to finish it. Bell cranks in it. I just lost interest in that. I ought to take that to the contest and see if I can sell it. Okay, let's take a break here. Been standing on my feet for all day, plus 50 minutes. I welded in a lift gate today. Team in the lift gate. I wish somebody could come up with a CA bottle that didn't clog. That'd be great. The electric with the Viper wing went to Steve Smith. I don't know if he's ever finished it or not. I lost interest in it too. My big Super Tiger 60 profile hit the ground in Huntersville because dumbass me didn't put a double nut on the elevator horn. Oh. So much crap here. Jesus, smoking now. I wonder how much weight this thing's picked up. We got to be at the 10-ounce mark. Dan, are you still watching or are you sanding? Yow, glued my finger to it. Ah, need some debonder. Shoot. I pulled the skin off. Okay, this is the outboard. Yeah, she piled into the ground. Still straight. That's all we care about. That and how much it weighs. This thing gets over 12 ounces, might as well hang it up. Man, that hurt. Let me get a bottle of water. I'm thirsty. Okay, we've been on 1 hour. You guys want me to go on another hour? It's up to you. I don't know how much you guys can stand. You're taping up. Okay. I think tomorrow I'm going to go to Walgreens and buy me some more women's fingernail files, the bucket full. Hanging up there. Yeah, well. I don't think I could do this. I can build all day, but I don't think I could film all day. Now you'll notice if you can hear that noise, I'm listening to the grind. You hear that grind? And we're only going to sand until that grinding goes away. And that's because I left them about 2-3 thousandths proud, the cap strips. And after I knock them down, I'll come back. When I get ready to detail sand this, I'll come back with a long bar and then sand them all at once. Well, that's good, Don. That's the whole point of this channel. Profile yak, and I bought a beautiful LA46 off Craig Biswick. The motor has had a lot of work done to it. Well, that all depends on who did the work. They work just fine stock. Hard to beat Japanese engineering. Sure hope Brian Gardner makes another run of Super Tiger 60 liners. I want to buy a couple more. I might even do a 46. I got a couple 46s that need freshening up. Aussie Top Motor Man. Like I say, it's pretty hard to beat the Japanese guys. Don't want to sand too much on that. It'll get the yeah, COVID. It's a joke. Of course, No Show Joe died of COVID. Good, my club brother, motorcycle guy. What are you gonna do? It's the way it goes. All right, what are we gonna do now? I guess we could do the other side. Fill the seams. What seams are you talking about? Talking about here? Are you talking about here? Talking about here? Here, this center seam is inside the fuselage, so you won't see that. These seams here on the cap strips will be covered with silk span. So, oh, no, I don't do that. All that crap weighs a lot, it weighs a lot. Even though it's light, you start putting all that stuff everywhere, you might as well take Bondo and slap it all over the place. So you want to leave off as much as you can leave off. I mean, it works, don't get me wrong, but this airplane especially, I got to have this thing come out 60 ounces. No more than, no more than 62. And I wish I could build it 56 ounces, but I've got to have that weight way down, and I'm at a disadvantage from where Billy was because I'm using an engine that's physically an ounce heavier and a propeller that's an ounce heavier and a pipe that's a half an ounce heavier. So that 2.5 ounce disadvantage I have right from Billy's original. So, and I sold my magnesium parts to Chris Rudd. I had a magnesium backplate, drive washer, and head for the 75 to lighten that up and get it, about a half ounce out of it. Yes, I do use a small amount around the fillets. You'll see me put the fillets in. The fillets are super fill. Now, there's a spot right here. That's a fingernail spot. It's on the bottom, but nonetheless, after I get the tissue on it, I'll come back and hit that little spot with a little bit of aqua green. It's a little tiny, like a BB size. I'll hit that, and there's one there. But most of that stuff will go away with the tissue, after the tissue's on. But you don't want to put it on right now because I'm trying to get away from the starved horse look. We're going to use, I'm going to use non-tautening clear, as Jim Lynch said to do, and see if we can't get away from that. Now, one thing I will tell you, even though it says non-tautenting on it, all dope tautens, all lacquer tightens up. It just doesn't tighten up as bad. So let's cut a center section so you can see how I do that. We'll make a center sheeting here for this side. I thought I had a couple of sticks picked out already. This is kind of crappy wood. Let's see here. This is 1/8, so that ain't gonna work. You guys down in Australia, you could build this airplane at this weight because that's where this wood came from, Australia. Most of it. So that's a 19. That's a 19. I got an 18. There we go. No 17 though. Oh, there's a 14. No, that's 16. Okay, we're going to use an 18. Let me check and see what 18 is. I think we're in the 5-pound range still. Density calculator. 18. 18. Length is 36. Who could this be calling? Yeah. Yeah, how can I help you? Listen, you guys. I'm not interested in any solar, wind, fart power. Jeez. God. They call me about 4 times a week. 3/32. Okay. Yeah, this piece is just 5 pounds, 5.08, but it's contest wood. It's just not super light contest wood. So what you do is we're going to cut a piece. We'll cut 2 pieces, I suppose. That long. I need to get back over here to the YouTube. Well, I'm going to show you how to do it perfect. So, where the hell's the square? There it is. Always use a square, even though it doesn't matter. So let's cut the first piece here. We're going to cut 2 pieces the same size. For you guys who have problems with center sheeting, you might want to pay close attention how I do this, because the seam is perfect when I do it this way. Perfect. Zero gaps. Okay. Well, I just had the square where there it is. The shop ate it already. Okay. Now I usually, when I have better wood, I usually grain the wood. Let's see what Marcel has. Have you seen any of those ads for balsa from Papua New Guinea where they grow it? No. I've wondered if it'd be worth trying to get some. I imagine would have to cut it to size. I would buy a log or 2 or 3 or whatever if I could get it at 4 pound. Okay, we're going to do it that way. Just a mark on it so you know which side you're going to glue to. This is so simple. Once I show you this, you go, well, that was easy. And we just take a ruler here, line it up with the sheeting, right to the pen line. There we go. Push it up till it's tight. Okay, well then it's not bad. Okay, so we need that piece. So now we turn it over. We mark it. Shoot. Okay, so there we have the size of this thing. Just find a pie pan, a plate, whatever. And we're going to put some curves in it. Uh-oh, Frank's speech. Somebody sent me something. Okay, there we have our first piece drawn out. The trick I'm showing you here is be well worth watching the whole video because I see a lot of screw ups on center sheeting. Oh, we don't want this one. Now you think, well, how could this be so difficult? Well, the guys have problems with it. You want to cut to the outside of that line, leave the line on, and you want to cut into the turn. You don't want to cut away from the turn. I'll sand that off later. Okay, I'm coming. I was right. Frank's speech. Don't give Frank's speech your phone number because you can't opt out. Even though it says stop to opt out, but they never take me off the damn list. The reason why you're running into the turn like this is the direction of the grain at the end of the point, so that the point comes out perfect. Otherwise, you're pulling into it, and it'll bunch it up. So now we got this one done. And we'll put a piece of tape on it to hold it on. And I wish the camera could move by itself, or I had a camera person, but I don't. Okay, how are you going to get the backside to fit perfect? Well, it's real simple. I'm going to take this piece right here. We got a little bit of a rock there in the back. Turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. So we're going to have to pull a rabbit here. The way this is not going to work out very well. So we want to go up this way right here. We want to cut off that much. Normally I don't have this problem, but there's a hard spot in this wood and I didn't grind it out. So when I worked in a glass factory, I was a beveler. And a beveler was a sander of mirrors. I sand the edge of the mirrors. And I learned, I try to learn a little bit of something from every trade I've ever done and apply it to models. And it works. Look at that, just perfect. Okay. Draw that together real good. I'll mark the underside. Now, because this is a tight, a tighter radius, you don't want to use this on it. That radius would be way too big. So you pick some object that's got a smaller radius. In this case, I happen to use the this can right here, accelerator. Let's see, we've been on an hour and a half. We'll do 2 hours tonight, I guess. You guys want to see it, so we'll do it. Okay. Now the trick is coming up here pretty shortly to make these marry up perfectly. And it's not a big deal. Should have thought of it before I showed you. But it's kind of like that mathematical problem. How do you find half of a fraction? Shit, I didn't have a clue. Thanks, Jim. Okay. Now I got 2 pieces of sheeting there. Pull that together as tight as you can. And we're going to pick a spot halfway between both sheets. Like right there. Holding the blade perpendicular to the ruler, push that down and cut through both sheets at the same time. Try to get it in one pull. I mean, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Then it's a piece of Teflon. I wish I had some more of this stuff. This is really good. It's a whole lot better than wax paper. Turn it upside down. Glue them together. Simple as that. Little sandpaper. Now, how hard was that? I need a round sanding piece of sandpaper. Okay, let's see what it weighs. Feels like it's starting to get some girth to it. Ain't nothing I can do about it. What happened to my piece of foam? Had it sitting over here. And I put it over here. I guess it doesn't matter what I use. Use this piece right here. Use this piece of foam right here. Ten ounces. Anybody got a guess how much it weighs? Now this wing's almost complete. There's just no bell crank, flaps, or horns in it. I'll give you a clue. 6.4 ounces. That's using all the tricks I can muster to make it light. When you're working with wood that's not optimum, you got to kind of do what you can do. 6.4, Craig. So even if I get the cap strips on there, let's say 6.5. 6.5 ounces. 7, 8, 9, yeah, it'll be 10 ounces complete. It'll be probably between 11 and 12 covered with 3 coats of dope on it. And this is on its way to becoming a light model. If I just don't let off the gas. What the heck happened to my piece of foam? Oh, here it is. It's on top of the refrigerator. What the hell are you doing over there? Anyway. We got 24 minutes left. Maybe we can get another side of cap strips on it. Tomorrow night, when I come on, I'll come on early tomorrow night before Charles. We'll cut the compression spars and start fitting the bell crank. Now, because of the severe angle that the push rod leaves this wing, I'm going to use a Balllink on the bell crank, and that's the only Balllink that I'm going to use. Balllinks aren't any good. There's a couple of reasons that I don't like them. One, there's more friction than a piece of 3/32 wire and an 1/8" brass bushing, double the area. Matter of fact, 1.25 times that of a 3/32 wire. So that means more drag. And the next thing is those Balllinks in the weather swell. And I have seen airplanes almost hit the ground. And I've had an airplane where the controls have locked up, where you got to work them back and forth. So the Balllinks are good. I have some metal Balllinks that would probably be better, but I don't have the metric bolt to go inside them. I don't know what size they are. I probably ought to take it down to the hardware store and use that metal Balllink on the bell crank, and that would be tend not to seize up in the weather. They swell and contract, causing your controls to get stiff. And I want the controls in this airplane to just flop, just hang down like they used to in the 60s. Everybody knocks the old technology, the cloth hinges, the Vico bell cranks, and the 332nd music wire push rods. The controls were so much freer then than they are in these big airplanes. It's unreal if they were set up right. Before the arrow shafts came out, I used to use quarter-inch aluminum thin wall tubing as a push rod. I would take a piece, ever how long I needed to make, cut a slot in it, make the wire go in through the aluminum tube, and just poke out the slot so that it locked it in there. And I would stuff that thing full of white glue and balsa wood. And I don't mean lots of white glue. It was that push rod was a lot lighter than the push rods we're using now, and just as stiff. But it's a lot more work to do than just stick it together and JB weld and be ready to go. So we're gonna do the new way on that. I got the small push rods, and when I go to do these controls, I'll show you how to get a zeroed out perfect alignment of the push rods and the wire control horns, the wire ends on the push rod, because we're going to make up the wire ends and they go on the horns first. That includes the elevator, and we're going to make sure they're free. I'll polish them up, make sure they're super free, and then when they go together, it's just, there's cuts on the 332nd wire. We'll just smoothie on the JB weld and shove the ball or the carbon fiber tube in there, pack it full of JB weld, and then we'll zero everything to zero and let it dry overnight. And that way, all the angles of the bends on the push rods will be zeroed to the horns, because they'll already be on there, and then the push rod will be zero, and they should just flop. If that doesn't make sense, I will show it on the build. Let's see. I was using them wrong and they would break. You'd never get my cloth hinges to break. The other night I saw Dorn with his Kevlar hinges. No good. No good for my use. The hinges that I've come up with, the lollipop hinges, are probably the best I've ever used. And there again, they're not my idea. They're Ron O'Toole's idea, and it just took me 25 years to figure out how to use them. It's a big piano hinge. And then John made the hinge better by burying the carbon rod in the leading edge. However, the hinge is better, but they are heavier. You got the weight of the carbon rod and the length of the whole wire. So it is heavier, but it will be a nicer setup. Yes, you dope over the cloth hinges completely. When you're using cloth hinges, you have to use old world dope techniques, and that's 1 drop of castor oil per ounce of dope. That's a Flexol or flexing agent. You can buy Flexol at the paint store, but that will keep the dope from cracking off the hinge. Makes it pliable. And I was talking to the guys at the Air Force Museum, and they had no clue about castor oil and dope. They said that won't work. I said, okay, whatever. And back in the days of aerogloss, it really made your airplane shine really, really well. I mean, you could get aerogloss to shine, buddy. That was good stuff. I think that's because it was a harder material. Yeah, aerogloss was good stuff, but I think they took it off the market because of carcinogens, which it has MEK and xylene. The thinners in aerogloss were just so hot because if you have a baked on finish on your car or whatever, I don't care, urethane finish, powder coat, whatever, you put aerogloss over the top of that and come back the next day and it'll be crinkled off. That stuff was like paint stripper. Uh, we went from cloth hinges to cleat hinges, and cleat hinges work if you want to do all that work that John does to them, where you cut the pin out of it, take them apart, file them, and sand them. It takes about a day to make a set of hinges, and then put Vaseline on them, and they work, and they do work decent if you get them in straight. But I like my hinge setup much better, much better. And now with this recessed drilling edge like this, and it doesn't sit in a whole lot. I'll take some sandpaper and sand that down a little bit, but it doesn't sit in there a whole lot. But that'll alleviate hinge tape. I hate hinge tape. That shit is terrible. Binds up the controls. Oh, that's a good thing. It's not a cap strip. Just do that right there. 6.4 ounces, Jim. Not bad. Not bad for a wing that's almost done. Let's see. Yep, I need to sand a little bit out of that spot right there. I ought to just leave it, not worry about it. Yeah, we'll just leave it. Have you used them? Well, we got a big gouge in that piece right there to sand out. Might have to remake this. See if we can sand that divot out of that. This is the one that I had finished. Like I had a piece of something. That's inside the fuselage, so won't matter. Sounds like it's raining outside. Wasn't supposed to rain today. Sure enough, pouring. Yep, very efficient. The biggest thing I like about them is that when you glue them in, they're wood on wood. They ain't coming out from dissimilar material. You're not gonna get much freer than that. And you're not gonna get any closer on the gap either. I don't know what I'm gonna do about this end here. I don't really like the way that looks. There's gonna be a wire protruding and a screw. I might do something different there. I have to think about that. I haven't shown you the rudder since I tapered it. I took 3 or 4 grams off of it, so that was a good thing. If you look at it, it's tapered towards the top. It's 3/8 down here and about a 1/4 inch on the top. And I'm not sure if I'm going to round the leading edge of this or what. I don't know. I got some more sanding to do on this. Make it perfect. I got a little fill to put in right there. Right there. Right there. I think I got enough gap tissue to cover this and the elevator stabilizer left. And that's the end of the Jap tissue. I keep looking on Amazon for it, but I can't tell if it's the right stuff. It's got to be waxed on one side. Yes, I can remove it as needed. Same with the flaps. Just grab onto the wire, slide it out, pull the flaps off. The receiver for this horn is an aluminum tube that's epoxied inside there. So it'll just pull right. We'll take this out and it'll just pull right off. Leave the hinges in there and the horn on there. So if I have to bend them or whatever, I don't have to bend on this. I can just pull them off and bend the wire and put it back on. But I'll make sure they're dead zero now. I'll make sure they're perfect before I put them on the airplane. Should be a good way to do things. We'll give this another sanding before it gets covered. Sand it down to 600. John has a fuselage over his place. In this state, it weighs 4.9. This is 3.5. So we're beating him on that. Somebody built that airplane that John has. I just gotta strive for every gram I can get. And when the bucks, the skins are put on this, I'll put them on and shape the outside, take them back off and sand the inside, and all this wood will be 3/32. It's 3/16 now. We'll take half of it out to lighten it up some more. It's relatively stout. I'm using every trick I ever learned to get it light. I just got to hit that 60-ounce mark. And it's hard to do when you're putting a big sinker in the nose. Well, guys, I really appreciate you watching. We ran a little long tonight, hour and 55 minutes or whatever. If you got any questions, you can ask them now. I'll stay on for another 5 minutes. If there's something that you need me to show you how to do, all you got to do is put it in the comment section, and I'll see if I can get to it on this airplane. I mean, I've covered everything so many times that, I don't know. I figure you guys would get bored with me. Silk span, polyspan, Jap tissue, fiberglass, carbon veil, molding, compound molding, rib cutting, alignment. I mean, what else can I possibly cover? I've covered everything. Now I even hit the fractions, of course, thanks to Jim Lynch. So that's about all I got for this evening. So if you're going to ask a question, ask it now or forever hold your peace. Just like I say, if you want to see something, put it in the comment section. And I see the comments and I answer a few of them. But don't be mad if I don't answer you. Or if I answer one of the comments and not the other. Because there's just too much to do. I just don't have that kind of time. There's YouTubers that make a living doing this. I don't make shit doing this. On this video, we might make 15 cents. I'm just building up capital, that's all. I'm hoping that someday this stuff will come around and people will be interested in building model airplanes, and they'll say, hey, I know a place where you can go look and see how it's done. Because I've seen videos on YouTube of guys building half-A junk, and they got a zillion hits on it. I don't understand how my videos only get 300, 400, 500 views and they don't take off, or they get a gazillion views. Because trust me, I can outbuild any one of them half-A guys. Shit. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you tomorrow night for an hour. I'm going to eat dinner and I'll come back and I'll work on a little bit here. With the build. what handle do you use when you make them? I have one question, but nothing to do with the build. What control line handle do you use, and do you make them? I used to make them, but the best control line handle going now comes from Casminato. I'm not going out in the car to show you one because it's raining. They're about $55 or 28 million yen in the exchange. I don't know what it is, but he'll send them to you. Go to K-A-Z, look up Casminato, K-A-Z-M-I-N-A-T-O, Casminato. And he has a website. It's very hard to navigate because it's in squiggly lines, so it's hard to read, but there is a translate button up there, and it kind of gives you broken English. And you got to pay in yen, and they roll them across from China or Japan or wherever. And they take a while to get, but they're $55, and they're the best. You can adjust the overhang width, bias, everything. It's fully adjustable. It's made of aluminum. You got to finish it yourself. You got to put the wire on it and epoxy the wood to it, but they're really good. And let's see. And Miguel says, "Good night, Sparky. I'm going to jump in the shower. I would like to see control line airplanes make a comeback." You bet I would too. I don't think it's going to happen. I think I'm the youngest I'm the last, you know. I call myself one of the last American craftsmen because there was many before me, but there ain't many following. I can tell you that right now. And some of these airplanes by the younger guys that you see at the Nats, they didn't build them. I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact. Remember what I told you about sanding being a signature? I can tell who did what. Trust me. All right, guys. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.